presentation for my midterm test of Introduction to Psycholinguistics, and I'm going to explain about the historical background of psycholinguistics. And let's get to the discussion. The very first one is the definition of the terms of psycholinguistics. The terms of psycholinguistics is a combination between two words, psychology and linguistics. Since linguistics is a study of language and psychology used to describe human behavior and cognitive process conditions, two of these are interconnected in producing and acquiring language through person's mental and psychological condition. Then the definition of psycholinguistics. Psycholinguistics is the study of psychological processes involved in acquiring, understanding, producing, and remembering or storing language. The psychological processes involve listening, reading, speaking, and writing. Psycholinguistics is also closely related to cognitive psychology, and research in the field relies heavily upon the experimental method. Cognitive psychology means the study of internal mental processes such as perception, thinking, memory, attention, language, problem solving, and learning. Therefore, a person who studies the phenomena resulting from the act of interaction between linguistics and psychology is called psycholinguist. In the history of psycholinguistics, documented history of mind and language study is almost 2,500 years old. Yet psycholinguistics as an independent study of language and human behavior is very recent. So the history is recorded the first in modern psychology, then they are developed to, and the beginning of modern psychology is start in the first half of 19th century, and they developed to the beginning of modern era in psycholinguistics in the second half of 19th century. In the antecedent of modern psychology, Wilhelm Wundt is regarded as the father of experimental psychology. He founded the first official research laboratory for psychological research at the University of Leipzig, Germany, 1879. He viewed sentences as the key unit of language and tried to prove the influence on its production and comprehension in terms of universal characteristics of human information processing such as intention and memory. On the other hand, his book Language 1933 reflects on the former characteristic of behaviorism. Then it developed to the beginning of the modern era in psycholinguistics. It started in the second half of 19th century. Psycholinguistics is the history of language acquisition research in psychology. There were three critical moments in history of language acquisition research making foundation for the modern era. Empirical work on language acquisition was also influenced by Noam Chomsky. Noam Chomsky is a psycholinguist who later dismissed the idea that experimental work in psychology might have implications for linguistic theory. Psycholinguistic research on child language acquisition and learning in the 1960s and 70s heavily relied on the transformational generative model of Noam Chomsky. Modern psycholinguistics has turned to new functionally related and socially oriented models of language structure research because the result of this earlier work showed controversy and inconclusiveness. That was all from my explanation of the historical background of psycholinguistics. I hope you understand. Thank you for watching. See you when I see you. Bye. Good day everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.